So in a recent stream, I was working on an analysis of NBA draft picks and how well they perform if they're a steal or a bust. And I'm going to be continuing that work now. So let's jump into it. Before, I was having some issues with Playwright. Playwright is a browser automation software. My formatting in this file is still a little messed up. I should use some kind of prettier or ESLint or something, but I don't really enjoy setting that up. So I was having some issues with Playwright before, and really the issues were because I wasn't understanding how to evaluate the document. I had used Puppeteer before, where you could just use like document.getElement or whatever, document.querySelect or anything like that. And I thought that you could do the same thing with Playwright. And after playing around with it for a little bit, I thought that you could not do that. And I figured out that you actually can. You just have to find the right API call to use. And that API call is, I thought you had to do like eval, which is really ugly, in my opinion. But you can just use evaluate. So you use evaluate, and then within this, how did I find it? I think I actually searched for href. It's kind of hard to find, to be honest. Like if you search for document, it's like JS handle. I still haven't figured out what JS handle is. It's probably obvious. Probably a thing like that I should know, but I don't. So if I search for document, it's like, okay, evaluate handle, page.evaluate handle, and then return something. I don't really know what that is. Long story short, maybe this is it. No, I had to search for href. Kind of weird. But anyway, this seems like the thing that you like always want to use if you're used to doing stuff in a browser context, which is probably like everybody. So somewhere, yeah, there it is. So you do await page.evaluate, and then within this you can use window. Window, I think somewhere up here they're using document. There it is, document. Okay, so this is like the money that I want. So I'm gonna get rid of this guy here. Oops. And yeah, I don't really care about the handle either. I'm in the page, great. And then this isn't gonna be href, this is actually gonna be players. So this is where I'm getting players to refresh everybody's memory and to refresh my memory as well. I'm getting this list of players, and basically I'm scraping this table and putting it into a JavaScript array. So I'm pulling this in, and I already have my query selectors that I care about, which is this. Hopefully that still works. So then this players is going to be await page evaluate, and then in here I'm not going to use this href. Instead, I'm going to highlight all of this, and I wonder if this is big enough for you to see. Hopefully that's big enough. Actually could also have keycaster. Yeah, this can be helpful. Wonder if this is going to work. Display the icon on the bar. So this is a little app that is helpful for, let's say, nice. This is helpful for showing the keyboard shortcuts that I'm using. So hopefully this will be helpful to you. Because what I'm about to do is take this, and I want to get rid of, well, take all of this, and then, oops, move this up here. So you can see I did option up. Okay, and then there you go. Yeah, Command Shift K. So you can see all my shortcuts that I'm using in the editor. Hopefully that's helpful. Let's undo what I just did. And then in here, this is now going to be document because I'm not using document handle, which is good. This players, I can move this console log out here, just so this is used. And then in here, I can just return this players object. I don't really remember what this is doing. Well, I kind of do, but I don't remember the specifics of why I was doing each of these things. I was sorting by points and la-di-da. Doing a lot of stuff in here, but let's just run this and see if it magically works. Headless faults, slow-mo 50. Yeah, they should be all fine. So what was my, I think I just did node stats grabber. Yep. So let's see if this is going to work. It should open up that window. Grab those things, log out the players. Nice, it loads the ads. I think I made a comment last time that it's funny that I'm just not used to seeing ads in web pages at all. Okay, so it's waiting for one of these elements to load in. Let me pop this over to the side so you can see this. It's doing page.evaluate, and I think it's getting hung up on that. Time exceeded, page.goto. So this one it's like not fully finishing loading of this, I guess. Let's move this keycaster over here. Waiting until. So yeah, apparently it never actually finished loading. I wonder if that's an issue with how the page itself loads, or there's something I can do about it. I mean, I would imagine that running this again isn't gonna fix it, but let's try that and just see if it's gonna magically fix it for us. Hey, it did. Okay. So that's good. All right, so we have all this stuff here, which is good. Probably, honestly, what I'm gonna end up doing, I think I had mentioned this before, because we're gonna do some kind of visual analysis of this. What I'm gonna do is this JSON, I'm gonna export it to CSV. So I'll probably import something like JSON to CSV like this. I can probably just use this with npx from the command line. So I don't even need to install this. But this would be actually, I guess since I'm going to use it in the file, I probably do need to install it. So I will install it. So let's go ahead and do that. And we're going to save this as a, yeah, I guess we're going to save it as a normal dependency. JSON to CSV. And before we move forward, let's commit this. I know I just added a dependency. I don't really care. So let's say the query in Playwright works well. I guess I haven't attached this to any remote repository, so I'll just keep that committed. And with that, I now can use this JSON to CSV. So let me find something in here. Transformed item. Flatten. Default is flatten. Let's see if I can just generate a CSV from this. I feel that It's not showing me the code examples that I wanted to. I'm expecting it to say, right, like my fields. Here we go. JSON to CSV parser. Programmatically as a synchronous converter using its parse method. Yeah, I think that's what I'm looking for. Parser, new parser, options, fields. Okay, so those would look like the headings, and then parse my data. Yeah, this looks like what I want. So let's try this. And then this would be, these fields would end up being the keys in this array of objects. So for each object, it would be the keys, which are all going to be the same. So we've got our options is going to be our fields. So we really don't know the fields until we have the players set. So let's just honestly drop this at the bottom. So once we have our players, then we can set all these things. Hop this over, and our fields are just going to be, we can say players, our first player, and we can say object.keys of our first player. Okay, and then my data is going to be our players here. And then we can log our CSV, and then I guess hypothetically we would be writing that CSV to a file. So let's do this first. Our try is in here and our catch is there. We don't need to log our players now that we're going to be logging that as the CSV. Let's give this a shot. I guess we actually don't need to wait. We can close our browser before this all happens. Don't need to leave it open. Okay, that should save that. So we should log out our CSV of players, and let's see what happens here. Most likely I've made a mistake, but we'll see how things go. And then I can also turn off the headless, or excuse me, turn on the headless. Right now I have it set to false. Okay, cool. So draft pick quality, pick number, player name, career points, point ranking. Yeah, this is coming out nicer. So we probably actually want to take the whole table, honestly. I was thinking about it, and like we probably want these advanced stats. If you think about, I'm just assuming that VORP would be available for all players like passed through time, but like, and I don't know a lot about VORP, but VORP is probably a better indicator than total career points. But yeah, we can just store all of it and see how it goes. So then once we have this CSV, technically we can, let's say node, we can check that. We want to use FS, and we want to write to a file, write stream. Create write stream, write, let's just say write file sync. Yeah, let's do that because this is async. Write file sync. I don't understand why docs don't have examples every single time. Like no matter how good your docs are, if you don't have examples, it's always just exponentially harder to understand them. Because really what people want is just to copy and paste stuff. That's how you understand it. Okay, so write file sync. Like what's the difference between write file sync and write sync? File directory. Write sync. Write v. See the documentation of the asynchronous version of this API. Write file. When file is a file name, asynchronously writes data to the file, placing the file if it already exists. Oh, here we go. So there is examples here. So that's good. Let's use this. So we'll jump in here and we can say, going to require file system. And this is also why I should have something like prettier, because I'm like just naturally being inconsistent here. I think that's what happens when you use, well, to me, that's what happens when I use an automatic formatter so often, is I just get lazy and then I start forgetting which standards I'm using. Like I don't even remember if I use a single quote or double quote, because my formatter always just fixes it for me. Okay, so let's pop this in here. That's good. And this is going to write, let's call it draft pick data.csv. And instead of data, this is going to be our players. We can call it players data. Nah, we'll just leave it as players. Okay, great. If error, throw error. It doesn't like that. Block statements are preferred in this position. Can it fix it for me? Nope. CSV. Oh yeah, we want to actually write the CSV. So we can say this is going to be players CSV. All right, great. So we got rid of the error. File has been saved. Otherwise, we'll log the error. And draftpickdata.csv. So it's going to create a new file in there once this script finishes running. Oh yeah, and I was going to get rid of this because I don't really want it to run headlessly. I do want it to run headlessly. All right, the file has been saved. Let's see what it looks like. Nice. Very good. Okay, so I can use this. And we can come back to the script later. I'll improve the script and actually get better data. But for now, we can use this CSV. I'll make this headless. It's still doing slow-mo, which I don't know if it needs to do. So I'll just leave it so I don't break it in the future. But headless won't break it. So we're importing Playwright, JSON CSV, to CSV, and file system. We are parsing the DOM using the methods that I talked about in a previous stream. And then we close Playwright, and then we pop that into the CSV file. And if I want to be nice to myself, I can say, actually separate this out. All right, cool. And we can say this is like output file. All right, not that important, but there we go. So now we have our CSV being saved, and now we can jump in here. And I think I had previously opened up, so I'll leave this open just in case. I don't think I care about these. I'd previously opened up another tab that had a sortable bar chart. And what would have been nice is if let's put these in separate windows. I can just do them side by side. I've already started doing some writing in here in this notebook, and I have a little script. What would have been nice if I just forked this. So because I didn't do that, I will just start copy and pasting. Maybe there's a easier way to do that. I wonder if I can fork individual or copy and paste a bunch of stuff from a notebook at once. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, there's only 9 cells, so it shouldn't be too bad. So let's just do that. There's one, and then we'll copy the other one. I'm gonna get a bunch of errors until I've pasted all 9 of these. and it's going to copy this notebook at the start, and then once I've directly copied it, then I can go ahead and use the data that I came up with, which is going to be inputting the CSV file that we just created. So we're almost there. If there was a way to, like, let's get rid of this guy, move it over here. If there was a way to batch copy different cells, then that would be pleasant, but that's all right. Observable is pretty active on their forums and stuff, and they're active about making announcements on different features that they're implementing and stuff, and I wonder if that feature is requested yet. I can check it out. Okay, now that that's in, file not found. There we go. Okay, so that's the only one, and now order is not found because I'm guessing it's not found. This is order. And actually we might be able to use a, for now I'll just copy paste this, but we might be able to use a new observable feature here. That would be helpful. So let me pop this in here, and then there we go. I don't have to pin this. A bunch of these I don't have to pin. They're all pinned currently, but yeah, now all of my errors come from not having alphabet.csv. So let's go ahead and actually, while I'm thinking about it, we'll just upload the CSV that I just created. And I think it's in our MBA stats, draft pick data. There we go. So I'll upload that, and now it's going to be draftpickdata.csv, which is data. And I could probably reference this. Anyway, forget this. So data, wherever we're declaring data, which is in here, and I can set, oh, that is definitely not what I wanted. Draft pick data. It's hard to copy this. Okay, letter frequency. I think these are the columns that come from it. So let's look back at this. So we should have draft pick quality, pick num, player num, career points, point ranking. So let's say, oh, but we have letter and frequency. So because the previous, this chart, where's the other chart? This chart was using letter and frequency. I'll probably, for now, just use letter and frequency. Or I guess it has name and value. So it's probably using name and value. So, okay, that's great. So I'll use draft pick quality, and instead of that, I'll use pick num. Just so things don't break. Frequency. And yeah, okay. Check it out. It actually like works. Doesn't break, which is good. What I want to do, actually, now I need to change this data. So probably really the big things that I need to change are this data, how this is actually parsing stuff in, which obviously it's not really doing anything. And then also this, because I'll probably want to allow people to sort by different categories. So like pick quality, pick number, player name, career points, point ranking. Whereas right now it's just, where was the other one here? Yeah, it's just using data from this, which is just letters. So it's like alphabetical, frequency, ascending or descending, which I don't care about too much. Okay, so I want to change this one, the order, and then I'll also want to change the data, wherever I'm declaring that. Right here, yeah, so I'll change that parse function. but I don't need this anymore. So we can make this larger. For now, I can take in all of these. So let's see our data here. And I can take in all of these. And that should work. Name value, yeah, so name value. I mean, name I could just say is player name. And then the value for right now we could say is draft pick quality. This will make it a little bit better. Yeah, so I have these huge names on the bottom here. Okay, so I'll probably want to make these vertical if I can do that. So I'll need to figure out my text. Where my text is being added somewhere in here. There's a text value. Oh, you know what it is? It's in the ticks. So if you look at ticks, whoops. Tick size outer. So yeah, on the x-axis, this is where I want to change to vertical labels. So we can do that while I'm thinking about it. I'm going to check if that feature request that I mentioned is available. So like batch copy. Okay, so let's create one. Just really quickly. Thought there's feature requests, but maybe it's just in site feedback. Show and tell, uncategorize, announcements, site feedback. Yeah, I think it's just site feedback. So let's do that really quickly. And let's look at what other people have done. Yeah, feature request. Okay, I'll just start it and then I won't finish this so it's not so boring. Okay, yeah, we'll leave it at that. And then I'll come back to that later. Great. So we're pulling in all the data that we need to. We probably don't really need Playwright anymore because I am good there. We have this. What I need to figure out is vertical ticking. Probably need to change the ticks here, maybe add axis labels. So I don't remember how to do those things off the top of my head. So let's say I know there's a good notebook in here about ticks. Okay, so I think that's probably where I'll stop for now. So let me add a little bit of to do. Oops, I forgot that you have to do markdown. And then in here I can say to do, and I want to make my x-axis ticks vertical, which is actually going to be the name labels. I want to add axis labels. I want to allow actual sorting by whatever stats I want. I want to change how I'm using not observable, Playwright, to get all columns in the draft table. And then yeah, I think that's it. I think I'm off to a pretty decent start. Once I do those things, then I should be able to sort. Oh yeah, I want to run the Playwright script over multiple years, so I can see the biggest bust of all time and the biggest steal of all time. And I think that is a good start. That'll be it for today, but I think I've made some pretty decent progress. I can probably get rid of this and reference a GitHub repo that'll push this other code to, and then we can go from there. So hopefully this is interesting. Thanks for watching, and looking forward to finishing off this project and seeing what kind of stuff we can learn about NBA draft picks.